A courier finishes the same difficult delivery by walking far beyond the planned stop. Yet the process records only a completed route. His extra effort keeps the schedule looking workable, while the access problem he repeatedly encounters fails to enter the next assignment. Being used as a means is ordinary. It becomes morally troubling when refusal, recognition, and standing are closed to the person involved. The decisive line is not automation itself nor efficient performance, but whether the courier remains a participant whose reasons can affect the arrangement. 3 tests expose that line. Can he decline? Can a relevant difference be recognized? And can he question the purpose governing his treatment? Consider a bounded depot scenario where automated dispatch assigns routes and time allowances, while couriers collect parcels from bays at the start of a shift. One address lies beyond a pedestrian barrier, far from vehicle access, so its parcel requires a long trolley journey omitted from the standard allowance. He completes it repeatedly, then tries to register the access constraint. The depot's available workflow accepts a finished delivery or a failed one. Because his extra effort produces completion, the route appears workable. His success conceals the very condition that makes the assignment unreasonable for him. To treat someone as a means is to rely on their contribution toward a purpose. Cooperative life depends on that ordinary form of reliance. A passenger relies on a driver, a patient on a clinician, and colleagues on each other's work. Instrumental use can coexist with mutual purposes. The morally important qualifier is merely a person is used merely as a means when their own capacity to participate in the arrangement is displaced. The distinction concerns the relationship between purposes. It asks whether the person's reasons remain capable of entering a process that benefits from their action. Automation, therefore, does not establish the wrong. A highly automated process may preserve participation, while a manual bureaucracy may close it just as firmly. Refusal is the first condition. It means a practical capacity to decline a role, term, or assignment before one's contribution is simply taken for granted. Refusal need not make every option costless. The question is whether declining remains meaningful, rather than carrying penalties so severe that agreement becomes formal only. In the constructed depot, rejecting the difficult address removes the courier from the whole route. The offered choice binds one contested condition to continued participation. There may be operational reasons for bundling a route. Coordination, timing, and parcel custody matter. Those reasons explain the design but do not settle its moral status. When continued participation depends on accepting every imposed use, nominal consent can remain while refusal loses practical force. That is the first warning sign. Recognition is the second condition. General categories can coordinate work, but they must remain capable of registering a difference that matters to the person affected. Recognition does not require bespoke treatment for each preference. It requires a route by which morally relevant circumstances can become visible within the decision process. An average allowance treats similar deliveries consistently. Yet the distant pedestrian address differs in the exact feature that determines how much effort completion demands. Because the courier compensates through effort, the process receives a successful outcome rather than evidence of mismatch. Compliance turns his difference into invisible support. The paradox is that reliable performance can deepen non-recognition. The better he absorbs the exception, the less pressure the process receives to recognize it. Standing is the third condition, the authorized capacity to offer reasons, question the governing purpose, and receive a response that addresses those reasons. An explanation of what happened is different. Standing permits the courier to ask why speed governs the allowance and whether another value should constrain it. A channel that records completion status may capture outcomes while excluding reasons. Information enters, but the person's challenge to the chosen objective does not. The process may remain accurate on its own measure. If that measure excludes contestable values, technical success leaves the ethical question untouched rather than answering it. Standing, therefore, tests more than voice. It asks whether reasons from the affected person can reach someone able to reconsider the purpose shaping the process. The strongest objection is scale. A process coordinating many people cannot renegotiate each assignment from first principles while still providing consistent, timely service. That objection identifies a legitimate benefit within this scenario. Standardization can reduce arbitrary variation, coordinate scarce capacity, and let participants anticipate how ordinary cases will proceed. Recognition need not abolish standards. It can operate through a bounded exception channel that asks whether a relevant condition changes the rule's ethical application. Such channels consume time and judgment. They can delay others, invite strategic claims, or reproduce narrow categories at a second level. Recognition carries trade-offs, but recognition does not require granting every request. It requires that a relevant difference can enter judgment and receive a reasoned acceptance or refusal. The three conditions also depend on each other. Refusal alone offers exit, yet it may leave the process incapable of learning why someone declined. Recognition alone can record the exception while leaving nobody with authority to respond. The courier becomes visible, but the governing arrangement remains fixed. Standing alone can offer a hearing while rigid categories exclude the relevant fact. The courier may speak, yet the decision process still cannot receive his reason. A meaningful channel joins the conditions. The person can challenge an assignment, register the relevant difference, and reach authority capable of changing the decision path. The practical test becomes concrete. Where can a person pause the process, introduce a relevant circumstance, and obtain an answer from someone able to act? A further counterpoint matters. Closure can arise in a manual institution too. Replacing software with clerks does not automatically restore refusal, recognition, or standing. Some contexts also justify limiting refusal. Emergency coordination or immediate safety may require firm assignments when delay would expose other people to serious risk. Imagine the same depot with a staffed exception channel. The courier registers the access barrier, and a reviewer can change time, equipment, or route order. The reviewer may still reject a request after weighing competing needs. Recognition creates standing within judgment. It does not give the courier unilateral control. The refined claim is proportional. Legitimate constraints may narrow choice, but the institution must still preserve the strongest feasible forms of recognition and answerability. Compare two otherwise similar depots. Both automate route allocation, but one includes review authority while the other accepts only the final operational outcome. In the first, the courier's reason can alter the route. He remains part of a cooperative purpose even though the process continues using his contribution. In the second, his effort is absorbed while his reason remains unavailable. The moral difference lies in the institutional relationship, not the machinery's presence. We can now answer the question within this analysis. Being processed as an input is not inherently wrong because organized cooperation routinely depends on people's contributions. It becomes mere use when refusal, recognition, and standing are closed together, leaving the person's action available while their reasons cannot affect the purpose. Refusal preserves a person's capacity to withhold participation. Its practical force reveals whether cooperation is offered or extracted through dependence on continued access. Recognition keeps categories corrigible. It allows a condition the process did not anticipate to become relevant before successful compliance erases it from view. Standing connects recognition to authority. It lets the affected person question which objective governs the process and receive reasons from those responsible for choosing it. A genuine channel must connect to the operative decision. Listening that leaves the same categories, authority, and resource allocation untouched supplies ceremony rather than standing. Performance and legitimacy can therefore diverge. A process may allocate efficiently and still relate wrongly to people whose work sustains its measure of success. Responsibility remains with the people and institution operating the arrangement. The dispatch process has neither moral intention nor the capacity to answer the courier's reasons. The full answer is conditional. Automation becomes mere use when it closes refusal, recognition, and standing. Preserve those channels and instrumental coordination can remain cooperative. To evaluate any automated process, ask three concrete questions: where can someone decline, where can a relevant exception enter, and who can reconsider the purpose? Those questions do not dictate one institutional design. They identify an agency boundary and expose which trade-offs require justification rather than being hidden inside performance. A harder question remains. Even when a process preserves agency and reaches a justified decision, the person who loses may still be owed something. Judge the relationship by the channels it preserves, not by machinery alone. The machine is learning. The question is, what are we teaching it?